Hi, Dr. Brandy here. And today I want to share with you some really cool information. Basically, there's a tiny little simple adjustments that you can make to your daily food intake to create really big results, all right? And those big results include reducing or eliminating bloating. So if you happen to be that person who gets the little muffin top after they eat, I know how that feels. You can get rid of that here, so stay tuned. And it also has to do with increasing your energy and allowing you to have sustainable energy throughout the day. The other thing that I love about this little tip is that it improves your immune system. So you have less of a chance to get colds and flus this winter. So get started today, right? Because winter's on its way. And the other thing that's really impressive about it is it has the ability to help reduce or eliminate allergies. So I've seen people who take this one little tiny step and solidly apply it to their life. And I've seen it eliminate sinus congestion, and I've seen it eliminate headaches that come with eating certain foods. So that's pretty exciting news. You know, I've heard from a lot of you and that your number one challenge to maintaining your ideal body weight is emotional eating and cravings. And I'm going to speak to that today because we're going to talk a little bit about gut health. And gut is I like to call our second brain, all right? So when we have a healthy gut, we have a healthy mind. It really is so incredibly linked. It's amazing to watch. As a matter of fact, I had a patient call me who was really surprised because it's actually starting to download. Like she's getting it, and this is where it really begins to get fun for me, because what she thought was that she had an emotional issue that caused her to react and eat a lot of sugar, and this has been going on for years and years. All right, so she's like, oh, I get emotional, so I just eat sugar, right? So she attributes that to an emotional issue. But what we're finding and what she's beginning to get is that this was actually a health issue. So we've been healing up her gut lining. We've been feeding her cells very specific nutrients that they were missing, and her cravings are gone. So what she thought was an emotional issue wasn't, and she's just thrilled to be able to notice that and to know that about herself. So I'm so excited to be able to share this with you. And by the way, thank you for those of you who watched my last video. It was on how to add food to your diet and add water in a specific way so that you can lose weight. And I love the feedback. I love it that some of you are beginning to implement these things and pull them into your life and as a way of being in the world. And it's making a difference for you already. So thank you for sharing that with me. You know, it's awesome to be able to take the 20 plus years of experience I have in the nutrition industry and working with hundreds of people to help them achieve their optimum wellness goals, and taking that information, that education, that wisdom, that stuff that I've gathered and put it together into a systematic approach to lifetime wellness that I can share with so many people now. So thank you so much for those of you who have been a part of this journey for me. All my patients out there have just really, helped me as much as I've helped you. So thank you. You know, one of those people is this really beautiful woman in Santa Rosa, California. Her name is Kristen, and she has been living this lifestyle, and since she started it, she's lost 25 pounds. But it goes beyond that. You know, the greatest part about it is that she's actually getting healthier. And how we know that is that we can see it on her blood work. So one of the things that I specialize in is something called functional blood chemistry. And basically what that means is I love looking at lab work through the lens of optimum health. So it's a little bit different than your medical doctor might look at your lab work, because I want to look at the relationships of things. And what I'm starting to see in Kristen's blood work is that she's getting healthier. She's moving those numbers towards into optimum health range. So this is exciting. Her cholesterol went from 345 to 194, and the optimum range is 180 to 220. Her LDH went from, let me check my notes here so I have this right. Yeah, 257 to 113. 257 LDL, 257 to 113, and her triglycerides went from 178 to 120. So a massive improvement in these things that we're testing in her body, and I'm sure the list goes on and on, but you know, you get the picture, because this is where it's at. You got to create greater health to actually lose the weight and have it be lasting, so that you're not constantly in this struggle and battle and crying and terrified and struggling and frustrated. I so know the story, and I have patients call me every day struggling. So, I'm here to help you with this, and we're going to get you through this. So, basically, I want to go back to the topic for the day, and that's where we're talking about this little tiny step that you can, this adjustment that you can make to your daily food intake, okay? And it'll help you with your immune system, your allergies, your energy, your bloating, your muffin top, all these things that we don't really like to experience but can't seem to get rid of. So what the deal is no one's really talking about the effect that organic foods and non-genetically modified foods are having on our health and our weight. All right, we've heard those things before, and a lot of what I'm going to say to you, you've probably heard before, but I'm sure you haven't heard it in the context that I'm going to put it in today. And as we go along, you're going to get to understand why these things work, okay? So here's the deal. What we're finding is that pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, these are chemicals that are sprayed onto our conventional foods. Conventional food just means it's not organic, it's sprayed, all right? And these chemicals that are being sprayed onto our food have been found to, and this is reported by the National Institute of Health, all right? These chemicals have been reported to have the ability to disrupt hormonal function and maybe neurotoxic, okay? So what does all that mean? That's a lot of words, right? So what that means is if you have a dysfunctional hormonal system, you can have a lot of different things going on. You could be depressed, you could have anxiety, you could be fat and not be able to lose the weight. You might lose a little but gain a lot more, so that might be hormonal. Maybe you have menstrual cycle issues. Maybe it's bleeding too often or too much or not enough. Maybe you're getting a PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, or fibrocystic breast. Those are all hormonal issues. Maybe you're getting an early menopause, or maybe your menopause is just challenging. So, menopause is a natural cycle of life, and it should be comfortable. And if it's not, you got something going on. We should talk, all right? And likely, it's hormonal. And so these chemicals are disrupting our systems, our hormonal systems, and causing these kinds of problems, okay? That's the conventional food, the chemicals. Now we're looking also at genetically modified foods, and basically what that means is that a food has been, their DNA has been modified by a scientist in a lab to have certain, so that the plant and the food actually has certain characteristics. For instance, there's a tomato that can survive frost. Like that's not natural, right? That was built in a lab, but it grows now because they combined the DNA of a tomato with the DNA of a fish. Yes. So if you're vegan or vegetarian, guess what? If you're eating conventional tomatoes, likely you're eating fish, all right? So this is crazy. This isn't even natural at all, and probably not the best thing for you to be putting in your body. Actually, what we're finding is that genetically modified foods appear to have a link with a lot of gut disorders, okay? And that includes Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, like having ulcers in your body on the interior there, leaky gut syndrome, all right, irritable bowel syndrome. Irritable bowel syndrome is basically being constipated and then having explosive bowels, and then being constipated and then having explosive bowels and uncontrollable bowels. I have people that can't control their bowels at all come to me to get help with that. And leaky gut is a pretty serious condition. So essentially, the cells in your intestinal tract should be, the junction between them should be very tight, where what is inside your digestive tract should stay inside your digestive tract, all right? But when you begin to get leaky gut syndrome, what happens is those junctures between the cells become weak and open up. And so what's supposed to be inside the digestive tract leaks out and gets outside, and it comes in and it gets into your blood. And then it ignites and notifies your immune system, and your immune system sits off a red alert. So if that was a piece of cheese or a piece of gluten or bread that leaked out into your blood where it's not supposed to be, now your body's on red alert for, if this ever comes into your body, attack it. So this is where we start to think that we might have specific allergies to food, but in reality, you've got leaky gut. Correct the leaky gut, allergy goes away. It's really simple. So, there's a lot of pieces to this, and the idea is that you want to reclose up those cellular junctions so that you're actually able to keep what's in the digestive tract, and you're not constantly putting your immune system on red alert. All right. So how do you do that? You start by eating as much organic food as you possibly can and staying in the non-genetically modified foods. I mean, I want to say as close to nature as possibly can, and that's really what I mean. When you're eating genetically modified foods, those are not natural. All right. Those are created in the lab. Those don't work for your body because your body's a part of nature. All right. Get close to nature. So eat fresh fruits and vegetables and eat non-genetically modified and organic. All right. So organic, if you have an organic food, it's already non-genetically modified. It cannot be organic if it's genetically modified. So you're safe with an organic food. Got it? Now, if it's genetically modified, if it's non-genetically modified, non-GMO, it doesn't mean it's organic. So it's still sprayed likely, but it's not been genetically modified. All right. So sometimes you don't have a choice. You can't get the organic variety. So you just have to go with the non-GMO variety if you can. All right. And there's rats. There's a little symbol and that you can look for, and it'll say non-GMO verified. And whenever a food has that on there, you can feel a really great trust. You can have a lot of trust in the fact that that is probably the cleanest food you're going to get if it's not organic, right? That's a seal that people have to work really hard to get. So just keep your eye open for that. So when you're eating, there's organic food or conventional food. When you're buying your groceries, you kind of want to look for something called the Dirty Dozen. And the Dirty Dozen are 12 specific foods, and this changes every year. I just found this out. But there's 12 specific foods that you want to always eat organic. Never eat them conventional. Strawberries is one of them. I will never eat a conventional strawberry. Never serve me a conventional strawberry at a party. I won't eat it, okay? I don't eat it. Strawberries are one of the most highly sprayed crops in the U.S. And guaranteed it's got a lot of junk on it, okay? So always get these 12 foods organic. And it's apples, peaches, nectarines, strawberries, grapes, cherry tomatoes, celery, cucumber, spinach, red bell pepper, imported snap peas, and potatoes. As a matter of fact, potatoes, ounce for ounce, has more pesticides than any other food. Actually, what they found on one tiny grape was that it had 15 different residues on it, okay? So let me ask you a question. If your doctor prescribed you 15 different medications for good reason, would you be concerned about the interaction that those 15 medications might have? Of course you would. You better be, because they're going to have some interaction that you may not know that's going to happen, all right? The same thing happens when we have all these different chemicals that we're putting in our body, and they're not testing that stuff, folks. Seriously, okay? They might test one pesticide, but they're not testing the interactions of pesticides with other pesticides and fungicides, or much less 15 different pesticides and fungicides and herbicides. Like, that's crazy, right? So just stay away from those foods, okay, if they're conventional. Now, there are some foods, and there's a list. It's called the Clean 15. So it's 15 foods that you can eat that are okay to eat conventional. You can feel pretty good about that. Some of those foods include avocados, pineapple, cantaloupe, asparagus, cauliflower. There's a whole list. You can actually go to ewg.org and look up Clean 15, and you can get the whole list. It's really nice to have that in your purse when you're at the grocery store so you know what you can buy conventional. Because I know a lot of people, they're like, well, it costs so much to eat organic, you know. And, you know, I got a couple of things to say about that. Here's the truth of it. It costs so much to be sick. All right? And it costs so much to not be available for your family because you aren't feeling vital in your body. All right? You deserve it. Your family deserves it, that you take care of yourself the best way possible. So get on it. Start eating these foods. Now, whenever you get like an avocado, what they found was only 1% of avocados tested had any residue at all on them. So you can pretty much guarantee that a conventional is pretty darn good for you. You're all right with that. And 89% of the pineapples tested were residue free. So those Clean 15 are actually pretty good. So feel safe with that. So there you have it. I mean, it's 2 simple steps, right? Again, it's a 1-2 punch here. I know I did that on my last video, but it's easy. It's easy to do these little things for yourself. And so far, what you've learned is how to add water and food to your diet to lose weight. And today you learned the importance of organic and non-GMO foods for your diet and for your health. And then on the next video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you how to eliminate cravings. All right, we have an epidemic here in the U.S. It's 50% of Americans. 50%. That's half of Americans are either pre-diabetic or diabetic. Seriously, all right? This is a completely avoidable problem. Don't be a statistic. Seriously, let me help you get through this. I'm going to really give you some great tips next in the video, and I look forward to sharing that stuff with you. So, can you see? I love this stuff. So, would you do me a favor and just take a minute and give me a couple of comments below? I'd love to know your thoughts about this video, and I look forward to sharing with you next time. Namaste.